serving us anymore.
Okay, so one thing here stated is that I deal with this. And the one thing that I noticed when looking through the business directory when I wanted to open up my own LLC, because, through my podcasting, I make money, but I spend that money. And after the government takes 50% of whatever I make, I also have to pay taxes, even if I'm spending that money on servers, travel, sources, outsourcing, because I literally keep absolutely minimal in my pocket to feed myself and my kids. So I needed to create an LLC. The tax guy told me to do it. And I was looking around, and guys, it is the most, even though his servers, the way he has them, are pretty light in regards to search, it's confusing to the layman. You don't know what you're looking at when you're searching for business. You can't identify if it's a shell corporation, a shelf company, right, just on paper. If it's a real company. They call out-of-state companies foreign. They call foreign ones foreign. And a lot of our politicians have businesses that are business only on paper. And that will be very interesting for people to know. One thing that I found out on the weekend was that I was supposed to file something for the Ethics Commission, like income and stuff. And I was like looking for everybody else's. And so, I'm that friend that can find everything in a blood sample. And I just looked at a few people's stuff. And I'm like, they're not being honest. This is weird. And this is why I'm going to pay $500 to have my accountant fill that out, so that it's not a mistake, because I still haven't even filed my taxes, because I was banned from platforms and they refused to give me 1099s. They're really messing with me. So anyway, so my accountant is going to take care of it. He got my budget for my eldest's name day. I have name days and birthdays this month, but that's okay as long as we're safe. But having said that, looking at the ethics filings and quick pass, most of these politicians are not declaring everything. And that's interesting. So maybe we need the Secretary of State's office to hold elected officials into higher standards, into what's a company and a pass-through, and make it more presentable, if that makes sense. Yeah. Any other questions? Do they make pillows here?
No. But they have them.
That's so cool. They have air bikes.
It's a pallet store.
Yeah. Oh, it's a pallet? Shut
Yeah,
up.
like you can buy like the
pallets,
whole
like
pallet.
Amazon pallets?
Yeah.
Right.
Stop it. I watch videos like that. That is so cool. That is super cool. Any other questions? All right, so, great. That means I satisfied your questions, so that means that was successful. And, for me, you vote for me, you'll get truth, transparency, and I'm funny. So, it's a win-win. It's a very good win-win. And I will try to incorporate the Sheriff Pope cue cards. Have you ever seen him on TV, on Fox? Where he's like, this is a peaceful protest, this is a riot, right? I'm going to start incorporating, I think I want to steal, I'm going to call it the Pope session, right? Because I think that's pretty cool, right? To kind of like the visual. Yeah, you said Michelle Obama's a man. Here's First Lady Melania, here's Jackie O, here's Michelle.
Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike.
Big Mike.
It's a joke, but I think sometimes we need to play on it. I'm a QAnon follower. I need someone to digitally make me into a monk that goes through the desert following the letter Q. It'll please them like that, right? Because I'm a follower. Maybe we'll make a prayer too. I don't know, in binaries, because it's software. So, it's not AI altogether, just so you guys know. It's not all AI. It needs people. It's got really good people that tried and then were hijacked and then tried again. And damn you, McChrystal. So now everyone's talking about that, right?
Yeah,
We were talking about it, how long, whatever, huh?
I want to say something.
Yes.
Many of us out here love Trump, so I support this lady here just for loving Trump. simply because they've been saying ever since Biden got elected that we stole the election. We're Ohio. We're not the whole country. We're Ohio. How do we stand up against anything like that when we still feel that Trump was even elected back then? We had the evidence in 7 states and they wanted to show it. They wouldn't let us show it. And now they're saying we're trying to steal the election from Biden. Are you kidding me?
So you're saying as Ohio, how do we stand up to what? The rest of the
Can't be
country?
afraid to stand up against those things. Yeah. In the Bible, what's in the Bible right now? I was born again in 2017. at
God
Oak Ridge
bless.
Hospital. And I go with the word of the Bible now. I've read it 5 times, cover to cover. The Old Testament once, right? I'm on a 6th time going through it now. I've been retired 11 years, so
I want everyone to hear this. Please.
You know, the point is, I love everybody, Democrat, Republican, both.
Yes,
But
that's the
the
way it
point
should be.
is, we never want to be afraid to stand up for things that we know is right. The murder, rape, and robbery right now in our country, it was already bad in Dayton, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is the capital. I used to run Cleveland. I know most of the streets and all the suburbs in there from Wendy's hamburger stores was 18
Right.
in the 80s. And the states that were Democratic ran. So I know there's Democrats and Republicans.
Can
I
they
love them all. I
see?
got friends on both sides. But the ones that were Democratic ran, we had police cars burned up, buildings blowed up, and they won't even let us talk about it. And yet, they're calling the January 6th thing, it's a big deal. We've even had some of our own relation that was there that day, 2 of them. And they witnessed a lot of that. And out of all them thousands of people that was around that building on January 6th, only a handful was really involved in trying to do a riot or cause issues. And then the one.
And they were all hired, I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
We found contracts, you know, when the documentary comes out, you will be floored. And President Trump had no idea. It was people that were worming their way through proximity to make it so. So I agree with you, and they're talking about
Yeah.
that, but not riots.
Yeah, I'm almost done anyway, but they're trying to declare all the stuff we done January 6th, it's all our fault, all the Republicans and the people in the middle, like
Yes.
you and I are, you know, kind of, we're right together. I'm
We're
with
in the
you.
middle, yeah.
That's why I come tonight. Julie's our daughter.
Yeah.
One of our daughters. She's the younger one. We got another one who's 53. So I'm 73.
Whoa,
Okay?
that's great genetics.
But I have been for terrible years.
No, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
When we had Republicans running, UPS had banners out, we paid $23,000 per year per student to get them in college. I worked for them for 28 years in college.
Right.
Pulled doubles for them for 8 years. 3 years for village meets around all them stores. And why is it that that's a riot with all their police cars burned up?
Yeah.
And every state that's had all the murder, rape, and robbery, you know, tripled now, even though it's already bad, is all run by Democrats. Every one of them, that's provable. You can read up on it. I've done my homework.
Well, it's the affinity groups that
But
are
I love
actually funding.
everybody, like I
Yeah.
said, I don't care, now that I'm born again, it doesn't matter, I love short, tall, big or small, I don't care who they are, I love everyone. And I won't show you, a lot of people here's already seen my right leg, that's how I got saved. Up at OSU Hospital, burger in a circle got infected it so bad, I had it cut off in 2 places, a whole new knee put in, right?
And
2017,
that's painful.
I laid on the gurney in Columbus and got saved, and born again. And I am truly born again, I think everybody can see that when you look at me.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you.
God bless everybody here. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time.
No, I want you to take up time
But-
because you're the one running, not me. I said that before. And,
Yeah.
and this is the conversation we should have. You know what you say about the crime? I had a conversation with someone in East Cleveland and they asked everyone about gun control, right? I carry all the time,
Yeah, I don't have mine on me,
yeah.
but I have those.
I carry all the
licenses, too. I've
time.
had it for years.
right? I carry all the time.
And we're here to
And
help
yeah,
people.
and the thing is that people keep talking about controlling or getting stronger laws. That's not gonna help.
No,
I'll tell you why. Our society doesn't value life.
all right.
From womb to age out to the older you are, they beat old people, they just want them dead, they're a burden on us, you know, oh, it's a baby, let's kill it, you know, oh, this, let's kill it. If you don't if your society doesn't value life, how do you expect someone to reasonably hold a gun and not take one?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when the UK was like, hey, we banned everything, but we have a stabbing problem, I mean, great. Let's have the Ministry of Cutlery now and start taking away butter knives and chefs. Remember when they were like, we're taking away chef's knives and they were locking them and you had to give your ID to purchase it in England. So when does it stop? It stops when we have these conversations because they don't
We
want.
need people to stand up and, and I didn't want her to be the only one in there that said she loves Trump, because I love Trump.
No, I love Trump. Well, no, everybody knows I
So
do.
we all know.
Everybody knows I do. That's why I said he's kind of good looking too, right? He is. I'd be like, hey, 78 looks good. How you doing? Right? He's good looking because his heart is good, right? And it's the inside that you can see coming out, right? And I love Trump. Are you kidding?
Yeah, we just
Like-
need to work on that issue, especially in all the cities, whether they're Democratic run or not. And there are some Republican things that's causing problems too, or not have strong enough belief,
Well, that's it. We need more love and more,
But
respect.
we can't call the January 6th thing a riot unless we call all those other 172, I think it was, across America, different riots.
Yes.
Wendy's hamburger stores and stuff, I used to deliver.
Well, what about the man that was shot trying to protect his TVs? Like I kept saying, oh look, they're oppressed. They're running to steal Chanel bread and Louis Vuitton food, right? They were raiding the stores. How is this oppression?
Yeah.
And how is this okay? And we had Maxine Waters saying, we will not let them rest. Kamala Harris saying, you give them hell. They had people telling them to go to the SCOTUS. I released a video the other day where Jamie Ratskin, who's sitting on the J6 committee, his wife literally funds one of the biggest affinity groups in Maryland that went to SCOTUS's house. They helped orchestrate in quiet Zoom calls to storm the Capitol, yet he's sitting there judging from the chair when he's involved in funding those operations that are actual riots, actual disruptors. In Cleveland, my building was taken over. It was smashed. There were 88 people on their knees getting zip tied because I got DIA offices, and it's a federal building, really, the Terminal Tower, right? So I was pretty fine, right? I was fine. All the feds are there. But it was crazy because these were young kids that are impressionable. And remember, the professors were giving them bricks to go and throw out the window, law professors. This is indeed a riot when you're encouraging
Yeah, I'm not
destruction.
trying to induce another riot, I'm just trying to get everyone in the world, basically, to accept the fact that we can't call January 6th a riot if we don't address and recognize all those buildings and police cars. And they told them to stand down,
So what are you running for in 2020?
nothing.
You must.
But Mayor
You
Ginther
must.
in Columbus, I love him as a person because I love everybody. He had people standing down because they started coming around his house with the riots and he got scared for his family. And I kind of understand, but if I take a job as a mayor, if it was this city, I'm going to stand up for the people.
That's it. That's why I said,
People
how
think
can
for all
you,
that stuff.
right? So
Yeah,
how
for
can
sure.
people, right? How can people vote for these people when they didn't stand up for your rights?
Yeah. And
You know,
I voted, think of all the years that I drove. I got 1,700,000 miles, safe driver log in 18 wheelers, right?
Right.
I mean, it's home. I got plaques all over the place.
Right.
You gotta go watch it 3 times. It's at home. And that thing is, I couldn't have done anything without God. And then when I got born again in 2017, I've been trying to spread the word to some of my friends, and a couple of them I used to run with went back in the 70s and 80s, and we were married. We ran around the bars and stuff. We weren't always out with somebody else, but we were running around drinking beer and shooting pool, right?
right.
So we didn't spend all our time with families. Well, this girl here, we've been married 53 years, and I'll be 54 in February. We stuck it out.
That's good.
Imperfect people.
You have
But-
some examples.
But I'll give my
guys.
life for God right here, standing right here, right now.
God bless you.
So,
Thank
but
you.
anyway, we need to support everybody and love everybody.
We do, and we need to stand firm in our beliefs and not cower down. We can't let them bully us into correct speech, and we should be calling things like they are. I was shouting from the rooftop, don't go, there's gonna be a riot. Remember with J6 even? I was telling him, I was like, okay, the president said it, but once you listen to him, go home, don't participate, right? I was saying it because this is exactly the process. They lure us in because it's sometimes it's a tribal thing, and this is what it is. This is an era of tribalism, and I was excited to hear other people on TV today use that term. That means people are listening.
Yeah.
This is tribalism, and we need to stop because we're all. What is it that Tom McDonald said? We're all in the same boat. Why are you trying to make holes?
If they sink,
Right? So
Yeah.
why? Yeah, we're all gonna
if they
sink.
sink, we sink.
Yeah.
It's madness.
We
Yeah.
had- the funny thing was, in my life, I was praying to God in 1983, 84, 85, Whitcliffe, Willoughby, Menor, Painesville, Shaker Heights, Broadview Street. Carnegie was one of the worst places in the whole United States,
Right.
probably. I mean, I had knives pulled on me 14 inches long, and I carried cigarettes to pass out to people. I had a helper who rode with me. Usually they were bigger than me. We had to stand up to a few people.
Yeah.
We didn't carry guns or anything back then.
Well, everyone did. They used
But
to have
I'm
them.
just saying, you know, and we talked to people.
Yeah, but even guns, they're not bad. We
Yeah.
used to. I know that in some states they had them in their school lockers, and nobody had school shootings.
Right.
Right? You know, we can walk around with it and
Yeah.
and nothing happens,
Yeah.
right? And now suddenly we have this pandemic of killings,
Right.
and it's like, okay, well, you're not valuing life. You're telling people they can abandon the pregnant lady. You should tell the dad, no, you're on the
Yeah.
hook. You can't have an abortion because you had sex because you wanted to.
Right.
And there's people that will argue, oh, rape, oh, incest, oh, this, which are really terrible.
Yeah.
Or I can't have a child with disability.
Yeah.
That's a medical thing. You talk to your doctor about that.
Yeah.
That's not Planned Parenthood's job.
Right.
Planned Parenthood is on the street just taking parts, right? And that gives casual abortion. As Secretary of State, none of those will be able to operate. Now, if you were a victim of rape, you were a victim of incest, you were a victim of yourself, that you're going to have a deformed baby and you psychologically will not be able to handle it. Because some people are not as strong as the next person. That's their decision to take that life, not ours, right? That's a medical condition because what's the point of having a baby when you were raped when then she's going to go and strangle it? What was the point?
Yeah.
Right? Some people think like this, right? I'm against it. If I was a rape victim, I'd keep it. Incest, keep it. Deformed, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't want to know. God will let me know when it's the time. I don't need some secret sauce. When I got pregnant, all times, they'd say, we want to do the 20-week. I was like, no, because if you tell me, I'm going to have to make a decision. And I'd rather not because he's already made it for me. And that's how I operate. Not everybody does. I'm strong on that. I've told my kids, and I have girls, and I've told them from a young age, ever you get pregnant, you come to me. I got time on my hands. It's gonna be a little bit rough for you, but they're gonna love grandma, you know, because that's what parents do. They look after their children, and they help them with their mistakes. They don't abandon them and say, you just messed your life out, right? That's the problem. No family unit, no respect for life, and then we expect people to not shoot people. How's that happening? That doesn't happen.
Well, the stand down cop thing is the worst thing. It's just going to keep right on going up, and it's so sad because this up in Columbus, I got a first cousin lives in Dublin. It's not safe anywhere up there now.
It's not.
I mean, they're going around just shooting people and running.
Yeah, and the cops are not good
Breaks
too.
my heart.
Some of them are just they're 6 months in training and out, and it's like, why is he on the street?
Yeah.
It's usually guys that are like, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
And then they don't know what they're doing, or girls they're like, you can't talk to me like that, and it's like, dude, you're a cop.
Yeah. The big thing is like the George Floyd thing. Hey, I'm on George's side. You know what I'm saying? The cops are bad.
Yeah,
If I'd
they
have been
did.
there,
They
I might
did
have
kill
been
him,
able to pull the
but he
one
did
out.
eat fentanyl. He did
Because
gang
he
rape
did.
someone, but we're not to judge.
Right.
Right.
But
That's true.
But the thing is, I've been a member of the FOP, Patrol Order Police, for over 30 years. Ron Nichols used to be sheriff here in town. He's a friend of mine. I knew him since he worked undercover in the 70s.
Right.
Okay? I think he works out BNB now, and he can barely walk. He's got some issues, don't we all? And he told me to join that because the State Highway Patrol, the sheriff, and the city police, their retirements are all connected with that. So everybody in here listening tonight, if you get those decals each year, I got one on my pickup truck out here now. I've never
Well, the
been stopped.
FAP endorsed LaRose,
Yeah.
and they had amnesia because he voted against them with SB 5 years ago. I read that article just today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so now they're endorsing him when he was the one that took away their power.
Here's the big thing.
So weird.
If you get into that, I got pulled over probably 15 times when I worked at UPS, and most of the time I had a shirt on or a uniform, and I drove back and forth to Columbus all those years I worked. and I got stopped several times. I mean, I drove over 1,700,000 miles in trucks.
Right.
I was never ever got a ticket in my personal vehicles going back and forth to Columbus, except the cars I didn't have that decal on.
Really? I'll get one.
So in other words,
Mine says 1776, so they're
but
like,
be
she's all right.
nice.
That's my license plate.
I was always very friendly with all the troopers. I knew I was wrong, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was supporting them back then, but now that I'm born again, I still am a member of that and support all law enforcement.
I was gonna speak
Because
there, but
we don't want
They
to stand down.
disinvited
We
me.
just want to make sure our cops are doing what they're supposed to do. And the public needs to do. If I'm taking off running from an automobile at night, you know, and the cop tells me to stop and I don't stop or something, he shoots me, maybe hey. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna protect everybody. I think the law, most of the time, is going right.
laws are usually on the right side.
But
That's
I'm
what
on
it is.
God's
Thank you.
side, you know,
Thank you.
100%.
Thank
God,
you. Let's eat donuts.
see, that's good.
Yes.
All these years, you,
And thanks everybody that supports
Thank
Trump. And,
Amen.
you know,
Of course.
We have to go with the morals of the Bible. That's the big thing.
yes.
Think.
And Trump leans
That's-
toward that much more.
And that's the
than these
thing.
other ones
See,
do. That's-
Genesis and Revelation tell us everything we need to know.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you pay attention, when I my audience that is biblical, it's real.
Yeah.
Because you know we can't fault the people who have that compassion for someone. You need to be able to, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty bad. I agree with you on that.
When they forced on the masks on all this told us we had to wear them too and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, God bless everybody. I'll see you.
Thank you.
Really take care of it.
Has voted Republican. I've always voted Republican. Now, to Trump supporters, I was diehard. But I want you to think about Trump. He brought out the vaccine. They were against the vaccine, the Democrats. Now, it's split. Think about it.
That was one of the mistakes.
Well, no, I can tell you about the
He's
vaccine.
he's part of the system.
Whoa. I'll tell you about the vaccine. Let me tell you about the vaccine. Let me tell you about it. You had the whole world. This was already planned. You want me to tell you how? I was there when they planned it, no? I'll tell you. 2010, they were discussing the election in 2012. I was in the room. Ask me. And Hillary Clinton was supposed to deploy it. Obama was supposed to deploy it. He was supposed to deploy it. And Romney was supposed to be stealing the elections. And it should have been that. And then the corona control. Democrats don't want to elect. Ohio definitely doesn't want elections. Because they're going to lose. Are they going to pull the pandemic? What are they going to do in that situation? When you know someone's train wrecking you, what do you do? Now, he flew a ton of money because he knew it was ready. If you do the math, you have 31 million seconds a year. We have issued more than 798 million doses. Even if you churned out one vaccine every second for a full year, you only get 31 million. So how did they do it? They already had it. And Trump knew. And the J&J was the only one that was different. It did not have the mRNA tech. That did not have the HIV banding. And what is the first thing that Biden did with the one shot? He banned. So the only way that he disrupts their plan is by saying, oh yeah, you're so right, let's go. We need it fast. Here's money. And you take control of the situation. You make them pass laws that make no sense. You make the people see it, because if they would have done it in their terms, you wouldn't be having the questions you have on Pfizer. You wouldn't be questioning Moderna. See, that's the way you play a game. While many will tell you he's part of the system, I think he did the best he could with what he had at the moment. Because I would have done the same thing as someone that has wrecked nations and has tried to hijack their inner fears to make them do it my way. What he did was, all right, they're going that way. Give me that. I take the ring. Let's go. And suddenly you see them doing things that are illegal. You see them pushing things that don't make sense. You see them create staff for Biden. Ron Klain created Clear at the airport. Who were the first ones with the COVID passport? Clear. They expose themselves. Sometimes when you can't stop it, Because what was he supposed to say? Hey, everybody, don't take me, it's got AIDS. You're giving everybody AIDS.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. You know where he would be?
I didn't take it.
No. Well, you have free will, and everybody does. We make choices. But if he would have said that, where would Trump be?
I don't know.
Huh, probably in a mental institution tied up.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world was showing you videos of people dying, being burned alive. He would have been put in a mental institution.
But,
He would have 25th Amendment like
There
this.
was no funeral processions. You got all these people dying, and that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say,
I understand that. He understands that.
you have to look at the whole thing.
No, you have to look at the whole thing.
Supporting.
No, put yourself in his position. You're standing there. I'm standing here. I'm talking, and I'm an independent, and there's people that call me crazy when I've got all the receipts to back it up. Think about it. He would have what receipts? They hate the receipts. How would he say anything when the global media would bury him? When I hear people say it,
Anyway.
no, so, but they didn't bury him and call him crazy. So the impeachment would have been like 25th Amendment. And then what? Oh, 10 people would have woken up. The rest would have been like, this is way too much. Some people that are here today probably didn't realize this till after 2020. Till after 2021. I'm pretty sure people were washing their vegetables in here and wearing masks because they didn't know what was going on. Even though they were listening to me, and I told them it was AIDS from the beginning, and I did tell them that Dr. Clark or anything. Because I was there when they planned it. I went back to school and got a degree in molecular and cellular biology, not because I am smart, but I didn't do it for that. It was so that I could line my way into these laboratories to see where they were making it, how they were going to deploy it. Under the guise of me doing research, I lied my way into I used the skills I had to be able to see ahead, to see how they were going to do it, and they still flipped the switch in the game. They had multiple avenues. So what Trump did, he a lot of people that would have already been there. And so for that, I'm grateful. And I really want you to take a 40,000-foot view and not think of it from yourself, where you stand strong in your convictions, just like me. And I'm there with you, where I have free will. I'd rather go hungry than bend the knee to anybody and tell me what to put in my body. Succumb to anything. But not everyone's like that. There's a lot of people who do it for the sake of their jobs.
I would say if you would support.
He's not part of the system. He took the system and did what he could. There would have been way more deaths, and not from the vaccine, like literal murders. They would have radicalized us more. Like, think of how crazy it was. Just think about it. Oh my God, you're gonna die. You gotta wear your mask. Wear your mask 6 feet. 6 feet, you're gonna die. Hey, I can smell your cigarette with the mask on. Right? Right? Get your job. You're second-rate citizens without the job. Do this. Where was any of these elected officials to say, this is jump over, go around, go straight through? People do, and that's what Trump did. He did the best he could to minimize the casualties, because you haven't seen casualties yet. You haven't even seen it yet. I want you to imagine if he sat there and said, don't take it, it's a hook. He tried. He tried. He said, there's other therapeutics. He talked about the light IV therapy, and they called him crazy. He talked about, and everyone said drinking bleach. They all had an answer for everything. So he was like, you know what? Forget this. Here's your experts. Take them. And now they go down, not him. And he tried his best, because he's not a doctor. And he had really bad people around him. Really bad advice. He tried to continue. He tried to have a traditional White House when he shouldn't have. He should have had all the people like me in his basement. It would have been done 5 years ago. He had people like me, coffee, Red Bull, cigarettes, and dumb. This would have been way done. It would have, Boston Creek. In a heartbeat. But he tried to do it traditionally because people aren't good with change. And they're not good with truth either. Could you imagine telling someone that you just gave your kid a job that may kill them and keep them infertile? Imagine, but they did. He said you have a choice. He said you have a choice. You can't make it for them.
You can't blame the man for saying you have a choice, and he tried. Because if he would have taken that battle at that point, it would have been the last one he had. Because they would have 25th Amendment him, and you would not see him in office again. You would not see him at a rally again. You would not see him there. They would censor him. The whole world would come out against him. You could go against the global media. No, you can't. Look, I can't even go against people where the guy literally was corruptly filed fake on me, and I still have to answer to trolls. And it's like, if anything that you say is true, I would have been in jail, loser. But people still parrot it. Because now that only happens to Trump, it doesn't happen to other people. What did he say? It's happening to me. It's going to happen to you. And all he did was fight for us. And he did. And he tried his best. He did. And I would have done the same thing. I would have taken control. I would have sped it up so they could be spinning their wheels. So people would say, well, hold on a second. 31 million seconds in a year. How the fuck did we pump out 798 vaccines? 798 million. Are you telling me that we were pumping them out? What? How many a day? 10 vaccines per second every day? Exactly. So he wanted people to think. But then the right media dropped it, right? They totally dropped it because when I went to Washington in November, I sat there and I pulled the plans in front of generals and I said, you are here. They said you're going to do this, and this is what you're telling me you're doing. Why are you following the ballots? I said it live. I'm not making it up. It was as if they didn't listen and did exactly what they were told. People that we all funded and looked up to. I asked, why are we doing this? You are walking into the trap. Pull the rug out from under them. Don't do what they expect you to do. Go for the certifications of machines. Then now in 2021, I was right. We're still stuck with Joe. Why? Because people don't like to take control. If you see me reacting, I'm reacting to something I set up. And that's the way we have to respond to people like this that have power. Liberal media. And unfortunately, our right-wing media, BlackRock, that's just, see, if you know their name, they're not important. I work for the people that have no name. I keep telling everyone, people like me don't exist. I didn't work for the CIA. CIA literally worked for me. They would give me stuff. I didn't work for the CIA. I trained with all of them. I didn't work for the NSA. NSA actually worked for me. They give me information. I was their customer. You don't know the people that I work with because they don't have names. They don't have titles. They don't have offices. They do not exist. So it's very rare that people like me that don't exist actually appear and say, hey, this is a problem. And why? Because I believe in God. And people are like, you need security. You need to... And no, I don't. God protects me. If it's my time to go, I'm going to go.